Hi, and welcome, Aaliyah Mckay.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad you could come and chat with me today. We have your film Mask coming up and soon to be screened in TweetFest for 2022. Brilliant
Mhm.
short.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Has Mask been in many film festivals?
This is actually the first one I
Oh,
submitted it to.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was um I've been looking at loads and I've submitted it to loads now, but
Yeah,
I was like nervous and I was like, okay, should I start the festival run? Should I
yeah.
not? And I just was like, you know what, just try it. Let's just try something and see. And then this came back, so I was like, oh, okay,
Oh,
something
that's
start. So
amazing.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm delighted to hear that we're your first, and then you'll be just adding
Yeah.
loads of laurels as you go to your poster for
I
people to
mean,
see.
fingers crossed.
Amazing. So let's talk. Let's get into the details of Mask. It's a very well told story, and I always say to everybody who's watching, there might be spoilers. So just be aware. When we interview the filmmakers, if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to press pause, watch the short if you can find it at a festival, and then come back and listen because otherwise we might say something that you didn't want to know. But that's all right. We won't give too much away, but we may give a little bit away. So yeah, let's chat about Mask. You have very cleverly told a very important story, but in a fun, light way. So can you tell me more about how you came up with this idea and why you chose to tell it it's sort of a semi-comedy, would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, something like somewhat of a dramedy to
Yeah,
some degree,
dramatic.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
drama.
mean, I would say it came about just me coming out of university and I worked in an office for a bit. And then I was just experiencing literally what it is like a borderline comedy, but then certain things that I found a bit uncomfortable at times. So I was thinking to myself, I always used to write notes of all the funny things that can happen in an office because there's so much humor. Like it's like a little animation office place now
Yeah.
because somebody is always fulfilling a certain role. And so from that, it kind of hit me that I needed to write something that was loosely based in an office. And
Yes.
so I was like, okay, yeah, that's really interesting. But then I thought I need to also write from my perspective and my experience as a Black woman. So I thought, okay, let's intertwine them. I would even say it was unintentional sometimes because it was just when I started writing, it just started to be funny, because
Yes.
initially I
You weren't necessarily going for a comedy element. It just
no,
happened.
not at all. I think I naturally sometimes I have like random humor or I'll find things really funny. And so for me, it was like as I was writing it, I just kept thinking, oh, this is like actually starting to sound pretty funny. And it's got a lot of character to it. So then I was like, yeah, let's go for comedy. And that's like my first time writing comedy as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe there's a skill here that I didn't know that I had.
Yeah, and,
But
and
yeah.
we're not specifically a comedy festival. We do. There's always comedy. There's always some comedy in there. Often it's like your own. It's a truthful sort of more serious story that has comedic elements to it. But this will be so interesting to watch the journey of Mask because there's so many great comedy festivals around the UK and beyond, and it'll be really fun to see which ones it ends up getting into that are more comedy. Yeah. So okay, so you didn't expect it was going to end up like that, but then what about the actors? Because okay, there's a couple of scenes there where I was laughing out loud with a few of them that were really playing because I worked in corporate land before being an actor as well for years, so I definitely can identify with those characters. The people by the water cooler, the ones in the office and the kitchen having those chats. Did you just start meeting the actors and then think, oh, and then because they took it to the next level? Or was that your direction where you decided actually let's make these characters big?
I mean, to be fair, I went through a lot of submissions, more than I even thought that I'd even receive, because I just put out really short bios, but I gave them like quite a detailed synopsis and quite a lot of background to like the location.
Uh-huh.
So when people were auditioning, I mean, some were great, some were okay, but those that I got, I feel like I was so lucky because they were all at such a great level in their acting and they all really brought something new. I think what kind of stuck out for me when it came to doing the casting was people who were just going to offer something. Like, for example, I will talk about the actor Anton who plays Dean.
Yeah.
He did the interview with a cup of tea the whole time, and that made me laugh so much because in my head, it's like I didn't see that, and then he came in and just did all the lines with a cup of tea, and I was like, he's the one. And it
Yeah.
just something as cool as that just
Yeah.
made such a big impact. And so when we was coming to shoot, I was like, get him a tea. Because
He's
like,
got to have a cup of tea.
gotta have it. Because that's what made me laugh. And it was things like that. He was one of the first people I casted. And I was like, okay, I need to look for people who are going to offer something. Like, people wouldn't think drinking a cup of tea is really humorous, but it really is if you've like got the right dialogue with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was just like looking for people with those things.
I'm never going to drink a cup of tea again while I'm on an interview, because I often hear with the tea, you know, a green tea, and I'm like sipping my tea while I'm chatting. Okay, and then,
When
yeah, exactly. And the lead actress who plays Bella, she is superb. Did you know her? How did you get her? Did she just also audition the same way?
Well, no. So I Simply Shayo, she's amazing performer on TikTok. And I had known about her before because I used to watch some of her videos and they used to make me laugh so much.
Yeah.
And so from when I was kind of going through the casting, I knew that I wanted somebody who was really naturally funny, because sometimes people can act, but they're not naturally funny. The jokes won't line if somebody's not got that characteristic. So I was on the hunt for a while looking for somebody who I thought, okay, who can just make the jokes land, basically. And I saw her. Well, I already knew of her, and then I was like, oh my god, she's going to be perfect. And so we kind of set up a meeting with her management, and we just had a chat. We sent her the script, and she was like, yes, immediately, and really enjoyed it. And then, you know, the rest is history. Now we're really close, and yeah, she's great.
I bet you'll work with her again then, because she's so
Absolutely.
great. She's brilliant to watch on screen. And I wonder if she's already a famous or well-known TikToker, does she want to do more film? Is that something she wants to? Yeah. So
absolutely. Yeah, she is branching into films, so she's doing an amazing job. I know she's working on something big soon, which I can't say, but she's gonna.
There we go. Well, there's a little hint for us all. Watch this space. But you yourself, you've got like a great sort of CV of things that you've done. You've done everything, lots of theatre, but also you've got Sky, Netflix, everything. So, you know, how's it been for you, and where did you start, and where are you headed?
So it's always funny when people ask me that question, because I'm like, where did I start? How did I do this?
Am I a filmmaker?
I would say, you know, just I've always been a creative person. I've always wanted to write, so that's always been a thing for me. And I was just always trying to create my own work as well, so that probably helped me a lot. I think lockdown, for some, obviously it was such a hard time for us all to be creative, and I feel like with the creative arts industry, it was like everything just kind of stopped for us during that time. So I think a lot of people, all we could do was just write and find inspiration from things, which was so hard but encouraging at the same time, because for me, I just knew that when I came out of lockdown, I wanted to elevate in a massive way. So I spent a lot of time just writing loads of things and finding inspiration and just trying to meet different people, because everything was just Zoom. So it was like people are home anyway, so it's like I kind of had a chance to have like chats with people and try and get myself out there. So that's exactly what I did. And then I was doing loads of everything that could be done online, creatively directing and writing and submitting myself for things and books. And it's like, for example, the whole reason Mask kind of came about as well was that I wrote a monologue based on the film, which was published in a book. And so from there, I was like, no, it actually needs to be developed into something visual that people can see. So the monologue's also published. And so then I was just inspired to create something with a bit more life. And yeah, I've just been going for it ever since, really. And it just keeps seeming to work out.
Amazing. So. And also, like what you've said is about lockdown is really interesting, because we kept going during lockdown. So we're in our 8th year. So it's not a new festival, but you know, we're not massively old, but we've been building. And during lockdown, we were thinking, what we're going to do now? We can't have a festival where everyone comes to the cinema, but instead we had an online one with using a platform where all the films could still be seen, and you still had to log on from home and watch the film festival, which I think actually all the big companies had to do as well. But what was interesting was we put lockdown in as one of the categories that year, and some of the things that people thought, some of the brilliant short film ideas that came up. One of my favorite was, lots of stories were told like a Zoom, like there were Zoom meetings. That was a common thing, because we needed to have ways, if you didn't have an actor or someone in living with you, how are you going to be able to film somebody? But these guys, I'm not being fair to this poor filmmaker because I've forgotten the name of the film now, but it might have been Control Not Delete, something like that. The space bar meant it went back in time and they could erase things. It was so clever. Anyway, it was in our festival a couple of years ago, and I'll get the name and write it down. And I remember watching that and thinking, how did you come up with this? This is genius, because I had watched a lot of films by that stage that were just Zoom chats, loads and loads and loads of Zoom chats, which is fine. Some of them are really good. That's fine. But yeah, it was like what I'm saying is, like, I'm so impressed that during lockdown you used that opportunity to create something brilliant and to just go crazy, and then it's helped you to elevate your career moving forward as we came out of it. It's brilliant. What do you want to do next?
Well, I work in theatre a lot, and I just finished working on a show on Channel 4.
Oh, wow.
So I was writing some sketches for that, and that's been really fun. And yeah, wherever the world takes me, I obviously want to do another film as well. And I'm working on a series idea, which hopefully will have a lot of centered around what Mask is about. So yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. I love it. You're brilliantly busy, and I like that you're out there just flying the flag and getting stuff done. Female filmmakers, which is where we yes, yeah, it's really great. I'm very excited about your film being at TweetFest this week, and I can't wait for you and I to hang out. So lovely to have you here and to meet you, and good luck with this film as it does the festival journey, and with all your other films.
Amazing. Thank you so much.